Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Helping Business Owners Sleep at Night, presented by our sponsor, Heffernan. We're so happy you can join us. My name is Michelle Wilcox and I will be your moderator today, and I will also be monitoring questions you may have during the session. Before we open up the session, let's review a couple of key items. All of the webinar materials we discussed can be found at the URL currently showing on your screen. I will be sharing this URL in a follow-up email, so don't feel like you need to write it down now. If you have trouble with your internet connection during the webinar, we recommend leaving the presentation and logging back in. We do not control the audio, your devices control the audio. So if you have any audio difficulties, try adjusting the volume settings on your device. If a telephone line goes dead during the call, hang up and call back again at the same number. If all lines go dead, watch the on-screen chat box for an alternative call-in number. Feel free to ask questions or provide feedback by using the chat box or questions box during the webinar. If you're using a tablet, you may need to tap on the screen for the options bar to appear, and then you can select the appropriate option. We may not respond immediately, but we will work your questions or feedback into the presentation. We can't get to your comment or question during the session. We'll be online afterwards to respond, or we may follow up in an email if we run completely out of time. You may also email us at moderator@aspenrmg.com for up to 48 hours after the webinar. This will be a 1-hour presentation. It may go quicker, we're not sure yet. Questions and comments are very much encouraged throughout, and the presenters will be answering questions at the end. And lastly, we have a number of upcoming webinars covering a variety of topics, including those listed on the Heffernan webinar website. In addition, we are offering the mandatory Preventing Sexual Harassment training in English. Actually, that one just passed, so that was held on June 20th. Sorry for that. With that, let's begin today's webinar, Helping Business Owners Sleep at Night. Our presenters today are Dawn Cooper with guest host Steve Brandel. Dawn has over 35 years of experience in the life insurance industry, working alongside financial advisors, producers, attorneys, and CPAs in finding flexible insurance planning solutions for their clients. He has delivered many seminars and lectures to insurance licensed advisors, and also he has experience in working side by side with advisors and their clients on point of sale calls. Dawn holds a Series 6 license as well as New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut state life and health licenses. Dawn is a New York State certified continuing education instructor and certified CPE instructor. He is a member of the International Association of Financial Planners and the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. Steve Brandel is the Senior VP and Director of the Life Division at Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Steve has over 33 years of experience offering life insurance, disability insurance, and long-term care solutions to both businesses and individuals. Now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Steve for a brief moment.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay, Michelle?
Yep, we can hear you.
Terrific. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate you being with us today. We're very excited to talk to you a little bit today about some of the things that Principal Financial is doing to help our business owners sleep better at night. Now, I'm sure I don't need to tell all of you this, but we know that business owners face more problems and uncertainties today than ever before. And oftentimes they don't even realize what they are. And it's our responsibility as insurance professionals to help all the business owners we work with identify the exposures and then help them protect them by offering solutions. And every business owner is not the same. Therefore, not every concern is the same. So Principal has designed a unique tool that's designed to help us isolate these issues that matter most to you, the client, thus helping you sleep better at night. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dawn for a demonstration on how to use the Principal tool. Dawn, take it away.
Thank you, Steve. Let me just get it on the screen here. Can you see it?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. As Steve said, you know, Principal has a very unique business owner platform, and our specialty is working with business owners, whether non-qualified plan, succession planning, key person retention, and the like. And we created this module that will help you to identify not only questions that you probably already have in the back or the front of your mind, but also questions that you may not even have thought of before. And what we've done is we broke it down into 3 different sections. And this whole package is called the Business Needs Assessment. And this Business Needs Assessment will help to not only identify the questions, but on a consultative approach, help you to determine the right way for you to go, and will give you some answers and will provide you with materials on how to get started. And this assessment can be done in one of 2 ways. It can either be done with Steve or your advisor sitting with you going through the questions, or this can actually be sent as an email and you can go through it at your own time. Now, this business needs assessment is really designed for all type of businesses. Doesn't matter whether it's privately held or it's publicly traded, even good for not-for-profits. Doesn't matter the number of employees. It could be a sole proprietor, could be 1 employee, could be 300 employees. And especially the reason that it doesn't matter with the number of employees is because, as you'll see, if we're talking about succession planning and you don't have a key employee, well, who am I going to sell the business to? Well, if I'm going to sell it to an outside party, am I going to get the amount of business? Am I going to get the amount of money that I need for it? How do I even know how much my business is worth? If it's a number of employees, well, maybe we have a key person or key people who want to buy into the company. And we also have ways to help you to fund that as well. And what you'll see, we're going to do a live demo, and what you'll see is you will get a personalized report. As Steve said, every company, every business owner will have different priorities. So this report will be different for each business owner and is based upon the responses that you give. Now, this presentation is really called, what's keeping business owners up at night? And this was designed where we did a survey of over 8,000 business owners, and these were the kind of questions that we were getting. And when we look into these 3 different parts, with the first part, protecting my business, this is really talking about succession planning, a buy-sell agreement. And, a buy-sell agreement or a partnership agreement is like the will of a business. So if I have a will personally for myself, I should have a will for my business also, so that I know how much money am I going to get, when am I going to get paid, how much am I going to sell it for, what are different contingencies such as death, disability, divorce, right of first refusal, all of those things. Key employee retention plans. A lot of you may have put in 401k plans for your employees where you have to include everybody. Here we're also going to talk about different retention benefits such as group plans and non-qualified employee retention plans. And when I'm looking at a non-qualified employee retention plan, I can pick and choose which employees I want to have participate in the plan. And I can also pick and choose which plan that I want to pick for each of my employees. So I can have different retention plans for different employees, as well as key person protection. You know, if I had an employee that suddenly had passed away, is that going to affect the valuation of my business? How am I going to hire somebody else? Where am I going to find that income? So all these things, and you know, here are some of the most common questions that we have. You know, how much is my business worth? Is there a market for it? And if you click down, and this is something you'll be able to see, you will talk about how we offer a complimentary informal business valuation, how you can work with your financial advisor on this. Am I prepared to transfer ownership to the right person? How can I make sure my business survives, as I just mentioned, if I lose a key employee or if I pass away? What are some of the ideas for top talent? You know, employee retention. So we have different ideas, and if you actually go in, which you'll see here, into a link where we talk about employee retention, and we can help you with all those questions regarding employee retention plans. So you'll get all that information just by being able to use this business needs assessment. Second part is protecting my employees. How can employee benefits help protect my employees, such as group plans and group term and group medical and such? What are some of the options in savings for retirement, such as 401k plans? Or if you're an owner of a C Corp, non-qualified deferred comp plans, or if you're an S Corp or an LLC for your employees, different type of non-qualified deferred comp plans. How do I get my key employees to save money? What if the key employee is too sick or hurt to work? So you'll even see, clicking on here, where it talks about group benefits, and you can click on and you'll see that it goes into what is group business and all different tools. So you're really getting a big consultative approach here and a nice foundation of knowledge. Now we can also go into protecting my lifestyle. So how do I replace my income if I become too sick or hurt? And we talk about disability, about revising my will or my trust. And also, again, the buy-sell agreement, which is like the will of a business. Do I have enough income replacement? Do I have enough life insurance if I unexpectedly pass away? So all these different types of things. So now, when you get past the frequently asked questions and those information, you can read through those, or you can go right into take an assessment. So the first thing you're going to see is, here are some of my top concerns and priorities. And all of these top concerns and priorities are all part of one of those three different topics that we just went through. You know, the lifestyle, protecting my business. And again, as Steve was saying, everything that we're looking at here, every business owner is going to have something different. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select the most common concerns and priorities that we've seen business owners pick. So one is affording my employee benefits, my estate tax. You know, if I'm a 60% owner of a $10 million business, well, there's another $6 million I have to think about. And in addition to all my other investments and such, maybe I have a federal and or state estate tax that I have to start thinking about, especially because in 2025, the exemptions are being reduced. So the effectiveness of my employee benefits, motivating and retaining my key employees, protecting my business if an owner or a key employee dies or becomes disabled, my plan for being financially independent as I transition out, handling an economic crisis. So then after we pick these, we go next, and we're going to talk about protecting your business, protecting your employees, protecting your lifestyle. So let's go in to take the assessment. Now, each of these assessments will take 3 to 5 minutes, and they're going to ask you things about your company so that all these responses can be personalized. So I'm just going to put in the most common type of information about the company. So let's just say we do California. Let's assume that we are a for-profit. As you can see, we can do not-for-profit. We're not publicly traded. Let's say I just own one business. You can see how easy this is. We have multiple owners. We'll say no, it's not family owned. We'll say that the business is growing steadily. And we're going to mention that we're an LLC and we're taxed as an S Corp. And let's say we have 11 to 50 employees. You can see how easy this is. Have you recently had your business valued? Probably not. We'll estimate in the 3 to 5 million range. You know, it's interesting because when you say, do you have a buy-sell agreement in place? Well, you know, if I ask a business owner, do you have a buy-sell agreement? You know, sometimes they say yes and want to take a look at it. And a lot of times it's not the buy-sell agreement, but it's actually the articles of incorporation. I once literally saw 2 young business owners in their 30s take out a cocktail napkin with an imprint on it that I know was a 10-ounce Pilsner glass that had their signatures on it. Obviously not a buy-sell agreement. I was at a law firm and their buy-sell agreement wasn't even signed. So do you have a buy-sell agreement in place? Maybe yes, maybe no, but let's assume we're not sure. And, you know, when was the last time your buy-sell agreement was reviewed? Which is another important matter because you want to make sure that it's the same owners, it's the same percentage of ownership, it's the same valuation of the business, it's the same multiples. So the same way you review your will and your beneficiaries on a qualified plan, you want to review your buy-sell agreement. So we're going to assume we're going to transition out of the business 5 to 10 years, and it's just going to be traditional retirement, and we're going to sell the business to a third party. Not sure. And the loss of key employee, you're going to say no. And now you're going to come up with this personalized assessment. And here's the interesting thing, is it's broken down, as you can see on your left. There's a check mark, there's a question mark, and there's an exclamation point. Now, if I hit the check mark, that means A, you're aware of it, you're already doing something about it. So maybe this says, you know, we need to, you already have a group plan in place, or you already have a 401k in place. A question mark means you're unsure about something, and that has to be explored a little bit more. And an exclamation point is, this is something that we need to address right away. And again, for each of these three, especially the question mark and the exclamation point, you may or may not have thought about these questions. And here's the interesting thing, is if you look on the right-hand side, it states you indicated you hadn't recently had your business value, but it's estimated at $3 million. You know, you indicated you're unsure if you have a buy-sell agreement. So as you can see, all of these are based upon your previous responses. So you're unsure if you have a buy-sell. Again, question mark. You intend to sell your business in 5 to 10 years. You're not sure. But you do know here, hence the check mark, you do know that you indicated that you want to go into traditional retirement. And you're indicated that you're unsure if your business is going to be protected. Now here is an exclamation point that we have to look at something right away. You don't believe your business is financially protected from the loss of a key employee. Well, that's something that we really have to deal with right away, because if a key employee passes away, what happens to the liquidity of the company? How long is it going to take you to hire somebody else and get them up to speed? Are you going to have the money to hire somebody else so quickly and get them up to speed? So we're going to talk about how we can work with you on that and some of the best solutions for that. Now, you can then go to a next assessment, but let's go through this first. Now, this says you didn't know the business, the valuation of your business. Well, you can see here that the response that comes up is that Principal will do a complimentary informal business valuation. Now, this valuation is not IRS approved, but it does give you a really good idea about how much your business is worth. You click on this, you'll see a sample valuation. This is all done in-house with Principal's Advanced Solutions area, and it's all software that's Principal's proprietary software, and all we require is 1 form and 3 full years of corporate tax returns. And what we do is we show 5 different methods of evaluating the business, and then highlight the method that's most closely associated with the type of business that we're doing. So let me give you a few examples of where this comes in. So let's suppose that we're talking about a buy-sell agreement, and as opposed to using the company coffers to fund the buyout, or to fund the buyout of the estate if one of the partners was to pass away, then we really want to use life insurance to help to fund the retirement, or help to fund the surviving business owners in case of an untimely death. Well, if we're going to talk about life insurance, how do you know how much your business is worth, and how much do you know you can actually qualify for? So when we take a look at this valuation and we see that the business is worth $4.8 million, if we have 2 business partners, and let's just say they're 50-50, we know and that our underwriters will accept a minimum of $2.4 million of insurance, because 50-50 owners are 4.8 million of valuation. In addition to that, we can take 10 times income for key person. So if each partner is taking $100,000 out as salary, 100,000, 10 times income is $1 million. Add that to the 2.4, we can now do 3.4 million insurance for each of the partners. And we want to get you involved, and we can get your CFO involved and your CPA involved. Once this is done, once the valuation is done, we'd get you on the line with your advisor and the CPA from Principal who did the valuation, so that you can understand where the numbers came from and be able to have a conversation. So if we come back and we say, hey, you know, the business is worth 4.8 million and you agree, then we're good to go. However, if we're pretty adamant that, if you're pretty adamant that, well, look, we think the business is worth 6 million, we can have that conversation. And if we feel that the business is worth 6 million, there's something we didn't know about, like maybe you own the building that the business is in, and we weren't aware of that. And we do the valuation, and we're good to go.
Can I add one thing here, Don? Would that be possible real quick?
Sure.
Not to interrupt, but one of you also mentioned it's not only important to have a business valuation, it's important to have an updated one, because I can't tell you how many people I talk to who want to get life insurance to protect their heirs of their percentage of the business. And the first thing I'm going to ask them is, well, how much insurance do we need? And they haven't had their business valued in over 5, 7, 10 years, which means that any amount of insurance that they have or are getting is inadequate if they don't have an updated, adequate business evaluation.
No, and that's a very good point. And you know, the nice thing about this business valuation is the fact that it leads to other questions. So if we're starting to utilize the valuation to talk about how much insurance I need to cover my buy-sell agreement or to fund my buy-sell agreement, well, it can lead to other questions such as, do you have some kids in the business and other kids who are not in the business? Do you have any key employees that, if they were no longer with the business, would adversely affect the valuation of the business? And again, we gave the example before of estate planning. If you're a 60% owner, you know, of a $10 million business, there's another 6 million. And so we define what each of these different formulas are, and we put in information that we're getting from the fact finder, and we also put in a earnings multiplier, 1 to 5, which is basically based upon goodwill of the business. So we go through all this information for you, and we do about 2,000 of these a year. And we go into a whole bunch of different succession planning ideas and thoughts and things along those lines. So just from here, we'll help you to get a valuation and go to your advisor to get that valuation. When we talk about continuation and succession strategy, you know, if you have a buy-sell agreement, you know, when was the last time it was reviewed? Again, we want to make sure we have the same percentage of ownership, same valuation of the company, same multiples, and, you know, what are the different triggering events besides life and death and disability. So if you don't have a buy-sell agreement, well, we can help you with that also. And there's a bunch of different buy-sell agreements. If you click on this link, you'll see the benefits of a buy-sell agreement, And we talk about three of the most common, although there are several more, three of the most common buy-sell agreements. Well, one of these is what we call a cross purchase, where if you have 2, 3, 4 business owners, they're each buying insurance on each other partner, and they're owner and the beneficiary of each other's policies. So what do I mean by that? So if Steve and I are partners, I'm going to be the owner and the beneficiary of Steve's policy, and Steve is going to be the owner and the beneficiary of my policy. So if I pass away, first, Steve uses that death benefit to help pay out my estate and buy into the business. The interesting thing about this is because Steve is using the death benefit to buy out my portion of the business, Steve is now going to get a stepped up in basis. So when Steve does sell, the gain is less, so he pays less in taxes. So if Steve and I each put in $100,000 into the business, and Steve and I have an insurance policy of, let's just say, $300,000 each. I die, he buys me out for $300,000. Well, that $300,000 that he bought out and gave to my for my estate, at $300,000 plus the $100,000 that he initially put into the company, his basis now increases from $100,000 by that $300,000 to a total of $400,000. So just by doing that, there's a stepped up in basis by doing that cross purchase. Another way to go, which is usually where you're going to have 4 or more business owners, is where you're going to have the corporation is the owner and the beneficiary of each of the business owners. So let's say we have 4 business owners, A, B, C, and D. The company will be the owner and the beneficiary. So if A dies, the company pays off whatever is owed A, and then B, C, and D will move up from their 25%, let's say, ownership to a 33 1/3% ownership. So that's usually used with 4 or more employees. You also have a wait and see buy sell, where you're not too sure who you want to sell it to, and upon death, the business has the option to buy all or portion of the departing owner's estate. They could sell it to another company. They can sell it to a key employee. They just haven't really made a commitment yet. And what Principal does with you as the business owner, as well as the advisor, is we're going to talk about, if you don't have a buy-sell agreement, about what type of company you have. We'll talk about which type of buy-sell agreements may fit your specific needs. And then we can email you a specimen buy-sell agreement, and then we get the advisor and you on the line with one of Principal's attorneys, who's, again, an employee of Principal, who will talk to you and answer any questions that you have on this partnership agreement, on this buy-sell agreement at no charge. And this really helps to save you some attorney fees, because we're helping you with this consultative approach to build this foundation of knowledge, so that when you already go to your outside attorney, you're going to save a lot of time because there's a lot of questions that you already have answered. And as a matter of fact, when you go to your own outside attorney to draw up the buy-sell agreement, before you sign on the bottom line, you can actually have your advisor send it to principal, and we will do a complimentary buy-sell review, and which consists of a synopsis of the buy-sell agreement, as well as comments and recommendations. And these comments and recommendations, again, we can get on the line with our attorney and yourselves and have that conversation to ask some more questions. And then, you have your choice of going back to your attorney who drew up the buy-sell agreement and go through some of these comments and recommendations and see which best fits you. We also have different, in here, we also have different decision grids. If you're going to sell it to a non-family business, to a non-family, there are different types of concepts that we can do. If you're selling it to a third party, if you're selling it to a co-owner, if you're selling it to an employee. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of different types of buy-sell agreements. And if we're going to sell it to a family member, again, whole bunch of different types of buy-sell agreements and different ways to pay. Whether, you can buy it out in a lump sum, we can show you in an installment sale or in an interest-only note. And we can show you what the taxes would be, how much liquidity you would have, and add that into any of your qualified plans as well. In addition to that, we'll go into what we spoke about before with the buy-sell agreement, and we talk about really quickly, death, disability, retirement. You see here, when you look at what a lot of your peers are doing, that death is a mandatory triggering event for 70% of the time, although I don't know why this isn't 100%. Obviously, something's missing there. Disability is only 33% of the time. And disability is very much overlooked because what a lot of business owners don't realize is, in your buy-sell agreement, if it says in the event that disability, blah, blah, blah happens, well, who actually defines what disability is? Because if I'm a rainmaker and I go out and I'm bringing in business and my partner's more the inside person, well, if I become disabled and I can't drive around or go out, but I can make phone calls, am I disabled? So the definition of disability really needs to be in that buy-sell agreement. And how is the company going to pay me? Well, if they don't have disability insurance, it's got to come out of the company coffers. If I do have disability insurance, the business owners have to realize it's not like a check comes the next day. There's usually a 12 to 18 month waiting period before that disability income comes in. So how am I going to get paid? Is the company going to have enough liquidity to pay me? As well as, retirement. So there's a whole bunch of different information that you can get just from this business needs assessment, and understand about key person. And keep in mind, this is only from one section that we did. So we talk about key person life insurance. So life insurance is bought on a key employee or on an owner, so that if the key employee passes away, the company is the owner and the beneficiary, and the company receives an income tax-free check if the key person passes away, and they can use that to keep the business going and to take their time and hire somebody and hire the right person and not be so desperate. And then you get the overall results, and there's a questionnaire here on business succession planning. And all of this can come out on a PDF. So you'd be able to see all this. And when you go back, you see that there are 3 different, type of things that we're doing, protecting your business. And you can go into the next assessment, protecting your employees, and very, very similar. I've been saying a lot of things. I want to stop for a moment and see if there are any questions.
So far, Don, we have not had any questions from the audience. So if anybody does have a question, feel free to send it in the chat box or the questions box to me.
Awesome. Now, one of the other items I want to just show you is when you go into, this is the next most common one, and you can see that it already kept the same answers regarding the company, and your benefits, attracting and retaining the right employees. What benefits do you offer? So maybe a wellness, maybe qualified plans, maybe group life, group disability, group dental. This is all really important that you get to see all of this kind of all in one spot, so you can assess your priority. And different companies at different sizes will have different priorities. And look, the life insurance that we're looking at is really just a means to an end. And it's life insurance and disability is really there to be able to fund the unexpected without having to go into the liquidity of the company coffers, because no company knows, if they're going to be liquid and what year they're going to be liquid, what year they're not going to be liquid. So all this death benefit is a bank of money to make sure that it's there. So you can see here, you can read what your peers are doing. So this is really kind of interesting, because Principal actually did a survey, and I won't go through every page, but all of this goes in more detail, but you can see that for business protection, only 52% have a plan, whereas more than 3/4 of the companies have a health and wellness solution. 43% have disability income. Only 61% have some type of succession planning. Most have non-medical benefits, 61% qualified plans. Very, very small number for key employee benefits. Only 68% are doing some type of estate planning, and only 65% some type of survivor income. So you can go through this whole survey, and this was an outside company that did this survey, but it will give you an idea of what your peers are doing and give you some more to think about. And you can actually go in, and Principal has this field where you can actually compare your benefits to other companies' benefits that they're playing, and the other companies are in your field. So if it's a manufacturing company, you can see how your benefits compare to other manufacturing companies and other companies in your area. And again, all this is at no charge. So we have videos and benefit and brochures and benefit restoration plans and such. And so I know we're kind of winding down a bit, but the link that you need to get and Steve will email it, but just so you know, is principal.com/business needs assessment. So it's just www.principal.com/business needs assessment. And as I said in the beginning, is that this can be done sitting with your advisor, or this could be sent as an email. You'd answer this and then email it back to the advisor, and then you're all set to start the conversation. So with that is, I want to turn it back to Steve and see if there are any questions or comments.
Thank you, Don. That was excellent, informative information. I hope that people will take advantage of this tool, because anybody who's paid for a business evaluation can know how expensive they can be. And this is an opportunity to have first-rate review of your business financials and really determine at no cost not only what the business is worth, but also what the exposures are for your business, and which exposures are the most close to your heart and the ones that are keeping you awake at night the most. So with that, thank you, Don. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you going through this with us. And Michelle, if you have, can you put, or maybe you can turn the screen back over to Michelle. Michelle, do you have our contact information?
Yes, I do. And I'll be going ahead and emailing you. So far that we didn't have any questions, so typically that's how we handle it. But I do want to thank both of you, Don and Steve, and that was very informative, and I'm going to share this with several business owners that I know, because
Awesome.
I think it is a very, very valuable tool. So I want to thank all the attendees for attending today's webinar presented by Heffernan. We'll send you information by email with instructions on how to access a copy of the presentation on our website. Thank you to our presenters for their time and expertise today. We hope all the attendees found today's webinar to be a valuable use of time. Be sure to join us on July 18th for our exempt and non-exempt employees webinar. Thank you all, and have a safe day.
Thanks, Don. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.